There are two ways in which a hypnotic trance may be deepened. One is by talking sleep to the subject, and the other is by having him perform a number of conditioning actions. Generally speaking, the best technique should be built up from a combination of both these methods. Some years ago, excellent examples of hypnotic conditioning could be seen at public performances of hypnotic demonstrations at music halls by professional hypnotists. These public performances of hypnotism for purposes of entertainment were prohibited by the Hypnotism Act of 1952. A copy of this act is obtainable from Her Majesty's Stationery Office. Various procedures were followed by the stage hypnotist. For example, volunteers would be invited to come onto the stage to act as subjects. When the hypnotist had a sufficient number of volunteers, he would begin the process of finding the best subjects. He would probably begin with some tests, such as having the group as a whole clasp their hands together, and then, with great emphasis, inform them that their hands had become locked together and could not be unclasped. A few of the group would find that they could not unclasp their hands and would be noted as prospective subjects. This was followed by a routine of relaxation or a series of tests on the lines of those already explained in earlier sections. Those who responded well to the hypnotic suggestions were then given more attention, and the others disregarded or dismissed. The stage hypnotist, having, by means of these tests, located a group of the most susceptible of his volunteers, proceeded to have them carry out a further series of actions which deepened the hypnotic state. The antics which the volunteers were made to perform included being rooted to the floor, playing imaginary instruments, conducting imaginary orchestras, being attacked by swarms of bees, being intoxicated by drinking water, imagining they were babies and crying for their mothers, being rendered cataleptic and being sat upon or stood upon by the hypnotist, together with whatever actions the fertile imagination of the entertainer could devise to amuse its audience. Though some of these performances were vulgar and in the worst possible taste, they nevertheless presented an excellent opportunity of seeing the various stages or depths of the hypnotic state. The following list sets out the reactions of the subject and is a general guide for indicating the progression of the depth of trance attained, but the reactions of individuals vary wildly. Disregard of surroundings and full attention on a hypnotist. Physical ease and relaxation. Involuntary blinking of eyelids. Swallowing reflex. Closing of eyes of own accord or by suggestion. Complete physical relaxation. Involuntary deep breathing. Inability to open eyes. Inability to unclasp hands when asked to try. Inability to move limbs or get up from chair when asked to try. Loss of memory in trance. A paralysis of vocal cords induced by suggestion. Analgesia in trance induced by suggestion. Insensibility to pain. On awakening, simple post-hypnotic suggestions will be carried out. Trunk catalepsy can be produced. Auditory hallucinations in trance. Post-hypnotic amnesia, loss of memory or incidents in trance. Ridiculous post-hypnotic suggestions will be carried out. Post-hypnotic analgesia. Can open eyes and not break trance. Visual hallucinations in trance. Post-hypnotic auditory hallucinations. Post-hypnotic visual hallucinations. Complete somnambulism. The professional entertainer adds many advantages over the lay hypnotist or hypnotherapist. For any hypnotist who has the opportunity of selecting or rejecting his prospective hypnotic subjects from a crowd can, by eliminatory test, choose only those who are most responsive to his suggestions. In consequence of this, he is more certain to be able to hypnotize his subjects. He naturally does not go looking for difficult subjects, but begins to work on the most tractable and responsive. For success with his first subject is important and influences the others. Many factors operated in favor of the entertainer hypnotist. The emotional expectancy and the anticipatory excitement of the audience did much to arouse their latent superstition, which was helpful in creating the trance state in many of the subjects. In addition to this was the fact that the hypnotist was a showman with all the polished patter of the professional. The public interest in hypnotism is comparatively recent, dating from approximately 1946 to 47, and from then until the Hypnotism Act in 1952, when hypnotic entertainments ended. Many thousands of people throughout Britain must have witnessed hypnotic demonstrations. Though these demonstrations offended many of the sensitive who felt it an affront to human dignity to see adults running around on their hands and knees, growling like tigers or passionately hugging broomsticks, there were some positive gains resulting from these demonstrations. Witnessing them convinced many people that hypnosis was a fact which had been much doubted before these public demonstrations. It is significant that since that date, hypnosis is slowly but surely being used as a form of medical treatment.